everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. We're glad you're with us. I'm Amy Hockert. We have a lot to try to get through today in the next couple of hours. There is so much happening here, not only locally, but we're watching things nationally. And then, of course, we're watching Hurricane Melissa as well. So to kick things off, though, we're going to be talking about something we're watching in Minneapolis. And this is an authorization to strike. It could happen this week. Educators there, we're going to be talking with them here in a couple of minutes. What would this look like if there was a strike? What exactly does the union want? There are some sticking points there that we'd love to try to drill down on just a little bit more. So again, we'll hear from them in just a couple of minutes. And then a little bit later, a huge boost for the Shakopee Fire Department. We told you about this one last week, and it's been now years of staffing challenges, slower than standard response times reported, and also some reports of kind of unstable internal culture there. So we've got a new chief here. We've got a new opportunity to totally transform this department. Chief Joe Simon's going to be joining us here shortly to talk about what this new grant could do and how it could transform really that department. That's the word they've been using, is transformative. We're going to dig a little bit deeper on the Carson Wentz situation as well. As we know, he's out for the season. His left shoulder is cooked. How did we get here, though? Carson's college QB coach, you've seen him on All Day Live a few times here over the course of the last few months, Randy Hedberg, who just retired this past winter, of course, has been watching all of this play out and knows Carson really well, coached Carson for quite some time. We're going to be talking to him at 12:45 and see kind of what's been going through his mind as he's been watching all of this play out. Keeping with the sports theme here, if you love hockey, you want to be part of the World Juniors Championship event this winter in the Twin Cities, you're going to want to stick around. And we're going to tell you how you can join the Blue Line crew. It's going to be a similar concept to things that we've seen in the past with like the Super Bowl and the Big Ten Women's Championship here just a year ago. So we're going to stay tuned because there's some really cool opportunities here for you, the public, anybody, to join in on what is going to be just an incredible event this December and this January. All right, let's get to some of the headlines here. Some of the things that we are following for you over the course of the next couple of hours. This is this developing situation in Minneapolis public schools where teachers could walk off the job here in just a matter of days. We know that overnight, the teachers union said that the vote was in and members overwhelmingly authorized a strike. Later this afternoon, we're going to be following a rally that's scheduled outside district headquarters as well. That's about at 4:30. The teachers union has not set a date yet for this possible walkout. The soonest it could happen likely would be somewhere in that November 13th range. Here's what they had to say, though, just a short time ago. We clipped a portion of that, and then we've got a live interview on the back end of this. Let's listen.
My family fled our home in the South for a more inclusive and welcoming place for our kids to live and learn, and I have been beyond impressed with our neighborhood schools and the teachers and staff. I was, however, shocked to see my child go from a class of 21 kindergartners in Tennessee, where public education is not prioritized, to a school that has multiple kindergarten classes of 28 students here in Minneapolis.
So again, if this happens, it would have a huge impact on families of nearly 30,000 students. That was one of them right there. And then, of course, there's the union side of this. So joining us now is Natasha Doctor, who's representing the Minneapolis Federation of Educators in Minneapolis. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. So just to kind of set the stage for people here and give a little bit of context, so Minneapolis teachers were on strike. It was a 14-day classroom day strike in 2022. 2024, the union nearly held a vote to authorize a strike. And then yesterday, now overnight, we have the union voting to authorize a strike. So walk us through, I mean, to people watching this from the outside, it doesn't seem very stable, right, the situation. And talk to me a little bit about what you see from your perspective and the union's perspective.
Well, our union has been in negotiations for months with the district, working to build a destination district in Minneapolis public schools where all students have what they need to thrive. And so our proposals really focus on making sure that we have a really great learning environment for our students. And that includes reasonable and enforceable class sizes like Becca talked about this morning. And the key word there is enforceable. We want to make sure that we have reasonable class sizes no matter what school you go to in the district, no matter where you live, and that you're able to not have class sizes of over 28 kindergartners, like the parent mentioned this morning.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you a little bit about that too, for those who don't understand or those who've kids and they do kind of understand. When you talk about that ratio, the student to teacher ratio and the class sizes, what exactly is it that the union is hoping to accomplish here, via number, or what does that look like?
Yeah, great question. So we want to make sure that we are able to actually enforce any class size language that the district is talking about, or any caps. So we want to make sure that, if there is an overage of a cap, that we have a way of working through that with the district to get back into under the caps and coming to a solution that works for the school and the families who send their students there too.
Yeah. Let's talk about the caseload caps for special education staffers as well. It's my understanding that this is a big piece of it. Tell us a little bit about what the current situation looks like, as specifically as you can.
Yeah, so we know that there are some buildings where our special education educators are working with incredibly large caseloads that they are trying to serve and meet the needs of all of those students. And again, similar to the class sizes, what we are fighting for with special education caseloads caps is that we are truly able to serve the needs of all of the learners in our district.
And when we talk about kind of the children, right, the students who are the ones who kind of carry the brunt of this, what has that been looking like from your perspective, from the union's perspective? I mean, how directly and hard has this been impacting the learner?
Yeah, I mean, everything that we do as a union is in service of having the strongest possible schools for our students. And we know that students learn better when they have reasonable class sizes and caseloads, yes. And so that is why this is a big priority of our union, because we know that students are not being served the best way they can with the current class sizes and caseloads that we see.
And then how about the money piece of this for educators? What specifically is the union hoping to accomplish here?
Yeah, so we are hoping to continue to make progress on having competitive wages for all of our educators. So this specifically really includes our educational support professionals who make school happen every day for students and families in Minneapolis, and making sure that they're able to live in the city that they work in. And also for our adult educators. These are educators, licensed educators who serve adults, and they currently do not make the same wage that teachers do who are teaching pre-K through high school. And so working to make sure that they are have pay parity because they are doing the same work that we are doing.
So the Minneapolis Public School District has said it's facing a $75 million budget shortfall. Does the union agree with that and recognize that? And then from the union's perspective, I think, families and others may want to know, okay, where do you guys think the money should come from?
Yeah, so we believe that the district needs to think about how they are prioritizing their budget and where they are spending their dollars. And that is something that we are very open and willing to discuss and problem solve with them around. But at the end of the day, we know that they need to be spending the vast majority of their dollars closest to students, which we believe that these proposals do.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, how long have you kind of been with this arc of, like we talked about, we kind of set the stage here. This has kind of been an up and down situation for several years. How long have you been involved, and where do you kind of see where things are now compared to where they've been? Is it getting kind of worse? Do you feel like you're moving toward making progress inch by inch?
I think that's a great question. So I've been an employee of the district for 10 years and have been active in my union for most of that time. And I think that we actually do have more in common than sometimes it seems on the outside. I believe that union leadership and our rank and file members, employees of the district and district leaders, all want a district where truly every child in Minneapolis can thrive and have a wonderful experience. I think right now in negotiations, we're having some disagreement about how we get there, but I believe that we can get the deal done, and we are looking forward to our next mediation session on this Thursday.
Yeah, and that was my next question, is to kind of walk us through where we go from here as people are looking ahead. And some may say, well, gosh, do I need to worry about childcare? Am I going to see a bunch of educators not there? You know, what's going to be happening? What do you want people to know about the next week or two ahead here?
Yep, so we are going to be back in mediation with the district this Thursday, and we are very hopeful that we are going to make a lot of progress on Thursday, and we as a union are willing to meet around the clock so that we can figure this out and avert a strike.
All right. Well, we'll be definitely keeping in touch with you all and following this for folks who will be affected one way or the other here. Thank you for joining us, Natasha. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much for having us. Appreciate you.
Okay. All right. Take care. And thanks. We do want to mention that even before those results were announced overnight to authorize the strike, the district did send us a statement saying, in part, MPS is committed to quickly reaching an agreement with MFE that works within available resources and prepares the district to navigate anticipated revenue reductions in the coming years. The school board has been closely involved and has already authorized resources above what had originally been allocated. So we will again continue to follow that as this strike was authorized overnight. I believe it was about a 92% approval by the members to authorize that strike. Okay, we want to turn our attention now to the other just really big story that's happening right now as we speak, and of course we're talking about Hurricane Melissa. This was the time of the day. Ryan, thank you for jumping in here. This was the time of day, Ryan, where we were understanding that it was going to make landfall in Jamaica. The eye of the storm was going to be there. What have you been kind of watching?
Yeah, Amy, just minutes ago, Hurricane Melissa has made landfall in Jamaica and has done so as a Category 5 storm. This is the strongest direct hit to the island in 174 years and one of the largest hurricanes to hit the Atlantic. And here's a live look. We've been looking at these cameras in Jamaica, and we don't know specifically where in Jamaica these cameras are, but they are in Jamaica, so we know the storm is right overhead right now, and I can't tell if this is frozen or...
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell, right? Because it looks like there's not a whole lot of... You would think there'd be quite a bit of wind, and there we go. There's a good image.
Yeah, and here's kind of the path of the storm now, so you see it kind of on the southwest side of the island. So that is Jamaica. On from there, it will reach Cuba later tonight or early tomorrow. And from there, we'll move on to the Bahamas. So a very serious situation right now in Jamaica as that storm has now made landfall just after noon our time.
Okay, yeah, winds up to 185 miles an hour. The U.S. not expected to have this impact here. I know you'll keep watching Fox Weather here for some live coverage if we need to dip in. I did see a note from Cody in here because one of our producers was asking, somebody had posted on social media and then they said, is this true? And Cody responded. So early today, Hurricane Melissa became stronger than Hurricane Katrina. The storm at this time, this was about an hour and a half ago, it's about 70 miles south of Jamaica's southwestern coast. As we see now, it's moved and made landfall as weather conditions deteriorate. And then Cody said, yes, this is true by all major weather metrics, including by minimum central pressure. Melissa is stronger than Katrina. It is easily one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record, dating back to the 1870s. So this is, yeah.
And Amy, let's jump in. Fox Weather now just got back from a commercial break, so let's see what they're saying about this storm here.
Look at the pressure right here.
Yeah. This is the first landfall, we should point out.
Yeah,
there's going to be at least two, maybe three or up to four.
Maybe two in one day if it gets to Cuba before midnight tonight.
Right.
So
and it may not be a whole lot weaker than it is right now for all the reasons we've been talking about.
Not a lot of land air action. Even if it comes down 15 miles per hour, like you said, that's still a Category 5 storm.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And there's the record books right there. And we want to point out
These are the winds. These are the winds.
These are storms that have existed anywhere in the Atlantic Basin, not at landfall.
Now, Dorian made landfall with 185.
Yeah, right? And the Labor Day.
Yeah, and Wilma was not 185 when it made landfall, I don't believe.
No.
But Gilbert was 185. Gilbert, by the way, did hit Jamaica in 1988 as Category 3 or 4 storm right around that neck of the woods, and then it gained strength across the western part of the Caribbean.
Yeah, so it was stronger farther west. So folks are comparing it to that. This is by pressure now.
It's intensity, yep.
It's a top 5, I guess tied for top 3.
Yeah, Labor Day. And I just asked you, I said, how accurate do you think the Labor Day storm measurement was in 1985?
Very accurate.
You said the dude was out there.
Yeah, that's the story. He measured that by hand in the eye down on the Keys.
Wow, 90 years ago. I mean, that's crazy. Gilbert, 1988 was 888. I remember that one specifically as a kid. I remember Wilma charting that one out. It was such a long season, 2005, where here we go with the W-named storm, and that was back in mid-October.
Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. This is the last season since 2005. I say last, it's the only 2 that have featured 3 Category 5s. And anytime you're talking tropics and you bring up 2005, it's never a good thing.
No, it's 2020 was bad.
Yeah.
2005 was bad, too. So here we go. You can see the center of the circulation now, Ian, as it wobbles inland, is now ashore. That's why it's made landfall. Notice this. It does look like in Brian Norcross. I'm going to put this on the last one so you can see it. Brian Norcross did point this out before, that the shape of the eye actually contracted a little bit.
Yeah.
Right when it's making landfall.
Right. So those winds were tightening up once again.
It's just kind of refracting and maybe bouncing off a little friction with the mountain.
You had mentioned it does look a touch oblong, too.
Yeah, it's still healthy as heck.
I wonder if that's a function of the land interaction, too.
I imagine it has to be, right? Because it's not going through any kind of eye wall replacement. Now, if you're interested, we can't get a radar picture out of there. Jamaica doesn't have it. They've got one, but it's all clogged up. We can't access it at this point. And I mean, we're talking about power outages, obviously, as it goes right through the region. You saw the video coming in from the Black River area. Where does it go from here? It's going to immediately hop off of land later this afternoon.
Yeah, you look at tonight, 150.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see, because, I mean, this still has serious health. It's picked up the pace a little bit.
Right.
That's a good thing for Jamaica, at least limiting the duration of these extreme impacts. That's going to bring it to Cuba faster, likely as a healthier hurricane.
As that momentum. So even if it drops, this is assuming it's going to drop 35-mile-per-hour sustained wind once it gets out across the water. That might not even happen, to your point, right?
Yeah, we'll see. We know that there's going to be some disruption with the land interaction. We'll have a better idea, obviously, when it reemerges out over water. But you look at the whole western part of the island, and we had talked about regionally how it breaks down. The whole western third quarter of Jamaica is seeing hurricane conditions right now.
Sustained. Yeah. And we were talking about the hurricane force winds going out 30 miles. Well, that is not accounting hurricane force.
Okay, we've been listening in on Fox Weather. If you want to watch more coverage, of course, you can always watch them. They'll be following this here now 24/7 as they have been. Back here at home, though, and we'll continue to follow it for the next couple of hours as well. But back here at home, there's just so much going on. We wanted to bring you up to speed on a couple of different things. So today, as some of you know, is the day where 1,000 Target Corp employees are getting word that they've been laid off. Target eliminating those 1,000 positions, also eliminating another 800 positions, but those were open positions as part of this restructuring plan. And it's about 8% of Target's global workforce. So if you remember late last week, employees were told to work from home this week and that they would be notified today whether or not they would have a job. And those who would not have a job moving forward will still get paid through January 3rd, also receive severance packages. So today, maybe some of you have already heard from friends or family or yourself and have gotten some of those notices already, but today is that day for Target's restructuring to officially happen and those notices to be sent out. We wanted to also bring this to your attention. It happened, I don't know, about 2-3 weeks ago now, but this is really interesting. It kind of made its way into the news cycle and for a lot of reasons has kind of people perked up a little bit here. So police need your help tracking down a driver who they say fired a gun at another vehicle on Highway 169. So they say that this happened on Saturday, October 11th, around 7 a.m. So that October 11th, Saturday, 7 in the morning, a woman says that she saw an older model white sedan, had tinted windows, kind of weaving through traffic at different speeds. It was that northbound lane of 169 just north of 494. She says as she was passing the sedan, she told police that the driver pointed a gun at her and then fired it after she passed. A bullet ended up hitting her SUV. Fortunately, nobody was hurt. But now Edina police are asking anybody with any kind of information to give them a call. So again, it was a Saturday morning, early, shouldn't have been a whole lot of traffic on the road that time of morning, 7 a.m. on a Saturday, October 11th. Edina police looking for some answers there. All right, and then let me just get you up to speed here on the government shutdown situation. A couple of little things to kind of report here. The newish development today, we're entering day 28, is that the nation's largest federal employees union is now pressuring Democrats to accept the GOP plan to temporarily reopen the government. It's the American Federation of Government Employees. They represent plus or minus 800,000 workers. So now they are getting behind this Republican measure. Democrats, though, say they're continuing to hold their position that affordable health care insurance subsidies have to be extended before they're going to have these conversations and cross the aisle. Remember, the SNAP benefits are set to run out by Saturday, November 1st, for those who use the supplemental nutrition program benefits. And then meantime, Senate Republicans are today talking strategy with the Vice President. So that's another thing that's happening. And another layer here is that this is the first day that those essential workers, federal law enforcement, air traffic controllers, those who have been working throughout the shutdown, will not be getting a full paycheck. Until now, their pay period had sort of straddled the shutdown, so they had a partial check. Today's the first day where it will be zero on that paycheck. And initially, of course, we saw some of those air traffic controllers calling out sick at certain airports. Phoenix was a big one. When they initially weren't getting their checks. Now they're not getting anything in those checks, so it remains to be seen kind of how this will play out. The National Air Traffic Controllers Association did speak out, and they said that workers have been pulling mandatory 10-hour days for 6 days a week now without the paycheck, and they say that some people have had to work even a second job just to kind of pay their bills now. So that is the very latest. Vote 13 is scheduled, but there is no indication that is going to go anywhere, but of course we'll continue to follow that for you. All right, we're going to take a quick break here. We're going to check the weather, which here in Eden Prairie, those of us in the West Metro, it's kind of dreary and rainy. Those of you farther to the east, well, you might be having a much better day weather-wise. You can also email us at allday@fox.com. Love to share that email address with you so that you can get in touch with us and let us know your thoughts on things, what types of segments you'd like to see, that kind of thing. We always love to hear from you. We'll be right back after this quick break.
Cloudy and drippy, or just cloudy, depending on where you are for the day today. Oh, yes, indeed, as we've got drips on the west side, clouds on the east side, and just kind of some fuzzy dampness in the in-between zones. That is most of the metro area overall. 53 degrees for a high today. Yeah, a lot of upper 40s west of town, a lot of low 50s east of town, and in the middle, we're kind of sandwiched in between as we have that rain shower action across western sections of our viewing area from most of Minnesota up into the 35 corridor. And then our Wisconsin zones in eastern Minnesota stay relatively dry, except for the 35 corridor, and that includes the Twin Cities, where we dance the dance with this little, I was going to say a rain-snow line. No, just a rain line that set up shop as we have this barrier of dry air. Southeastern flow has thrown that at us, and so we see this as we go for these next 12 hours. The rains marched right up into the West Metro last night around midnight, and we've picked up anything from, as of lunchtime, a quarter to a half inch of rain in the West Metro, but the East Metro, occasionally enough to wet the ground, some traces here and there as far east as St. Paul. I was over in St. Thomas mid-morning or so, dropping Jack off between shows this morning, and there was some dampness on some of the sidewalks there around campus, but Yeah, not a thing like the puddles all over the West Metro. And again, as we head to the afternoon, it's like a wet towel has moved into parts of town. It just wrings out that towel and just gets stuck there, and it all fades away tonight. So 50s today, gray, damp on the west side, not as damp on the east side. Then sunshine, almost an October-style midweek mellow at 55 for you, and sun into the day on Wednesday. Thursday, a nice seasonable day in the low 50s, but I tell you, Halloween couldn't be more typical. Highs in the upper 40s with extra cloud cover. Kind of spooky looking at times. That's exactly what Halloween's supposed to be like. November, a little cooler than average, but just barely at 46 with some passing clouds. We kick out daylight saving time, so back to standard time on Sunday. Could see a shower chance as the sun goes down at 4:59 in the afternoon, but it is warmer than average as we go for those lower 50s into the early days of next week. Fox 9 All Day Live continues. We're back right after the break.
And welcome back to All Day Live. Kind of a rainy, the roads were a little wet this morning, slow go for some of you. Our Lauren Andrego just ran into her about 20 minutes ago, and she said, there's something going on here, just wanted to pop in and let you guys know about. Has to do with the bridge. Is it Spring Lake Park, Lauren?
Yep, precisely. Highway 65, you might know it as Central Avenue in Spring Lake Park, just south of Blaine, now closed in both directions, Amy, because of apparent damage to this County Road 10 bridge over Highway 65. I got a crash notification about an hour ago. No ambulances on the scene, and I don't see any vehicles that appeared to be involved in a crash. But as you can see right here, it looks like we have part of a high-profile vehicle. And as our camera was zooming in and out of this crash when it first popped up, I saw a big crack in this bridge over Highway 65. So in the last hour or so, crews have shut down both sides of the road and have intermittently shut down this bridge. Although right now it looks like cars are traveling over it just fine. Crews have shut down the north part of Highway 65, just north of that bridge in St. Louis, or Spring Lake Park. This is all south of Highway 10. You might know about County Road 10 as Mounds View Boulevard or Coon Rapids Boulevard. This is the road that goes over Highway 65, and we just got word from MnDOT that that road will be shut down until 4 o'clock today, and it looks like traffic is being diverted on and off of County Road 10, Mounds View Boulevard, Coon Rapids. Boulevard. So as you're headed through the St. Louis Park area today through the afternoon, Highway 10 is going to be your route, and 47, which you might know as University Avenue. Again, it looks like crews will be here on the scene until at least 4 o'clock today. It could be longer if it turns out we have extensive damage to that bridge, Amy. So we're keeping an eye on it. I will have updates tomorrow in traffic, but definitely an area you want to avoid this afternoon.
Sure. Okay. Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it. We'll see you in a bit. Let's check some regional headlines here, starting in Fargo-Moorhead, where a homeless service center has now been moved out of downtown, or is in the process of being moved out of downtown. That vote happening, according to the Fargo Inform. The City Commission voted to relocate the facility. It'll go into an empty building outside of downtown. The cost there, $350,000 a year to rent it. The city can or can't, Ryan, opt out of the lease? That's okay. Opt out of the lease if it's not able to raise enough funding, though. Downtown business owners were pushing for this, citing safety concerns, so that's a big development there. Okay, let's go to Winona now, where some new Airbnb rules have cleared another hurdle there. This is a big talker in a lot of communities that are either for or want to put limits on the Airbnb rental situation, but this is according to the Winona Post. The city's planning commission has now approved some new rules in hopes of limiting some of those short-term rentals. They approved a 500-foot buffer between short-term rentals, meaning you wouldn't be able to have like two next door to each other. It would not apply, though, to multi-unit buildings or the downtown district, and the commission stopped short of also approving a total limit on all short-term rentals as well. So now it's up to the full city council to approve those changes, but that just another advancement in the new Airbnb rules in Winona. Okay, finally, let's go to Duluth. North Shore, the Edmund Fitzgerald ceremony, if you wanted to go, it is officially sold out. The Duluth News Tribune telling us that the Split Rock Lighthouse hosting that ceremony on the 50th anniversary of the Edmund Fitzgerald sinking, a record 2,000 tickets sold like that. So the Lighthouse hosts this memorial every year, of course, but this is the 50th anniversary, so of course it's going to attract a much bigger crowd. It'll be November 10th. It will be live streamed, though, so you will be able to watch it that way. And then also, just a little plug here, Wednesday, November 5th, Fox 9 is going to be airing a documentary called The Gales of November, Diving the Edmund Fitzgerald. And it explores the shipwreck through the eyes of those who have been there, studied it. So definitely watch for that. We'll be talking a lot about that as we get a little bit closer. Okay, let's take a break. I think there's a peaceful moment here from Longville. Is that Wabidoux Lake? Is that right? Is that how you say it? Yeah, Wabidoux Lake. Oh, it's so peaceful. Longville, Minnesota. Hello to you, and thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be right back after this quick break. We're going to talk about the city of Shakopee and a big boost in funding that's going to really help out the fire department there. Stay with us. And welcome back to All Day Live just after 12:30. We're glad you're spending part of your day with us here. We wanted to follow up on a story that sounds like is going to have a huge impact on people living in Shakopee. The fire department is getting $2.6 million from the federal government, specifically FEMA, through its Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grant, or SAFER. This is a 3-year grant. It's going to give Shakopee 12 more full-time firefighters by March. When we heard that number, we said we got to have Shakopee on and talk about this. So joining me now is Shakopee Fire Chief Joe Simon. Thanks for being with us, Chief.
You're welcome, Amy. Thanks for having me.
You bet. So you took the reins here officially in this capacity just a few months ago, but you've been there for close to 20 years. Paint us kind of an overview here. How bad did you all need this money?
Yeah, we've had in the Shakopee Fire Department a very strong volunteer paid on-call firefighting force for a very long time. In 2013, we hired 4 full-time firefighters just to cover daytime, Monday through Friday fire response. And we've known ever since then that we needed to look at the future and change our staffing model. So we've known for a very long time.
Yeah, I was reading here. It looked like on a mix of on-call firefighters, volunteers, but before that, nobody really full-time. How do you even schedule that? And then I guess the bigger picture is how do you even rely on that kind of thing when your staffing looks like that?
Yeah, it's very difficult. It's not dependable and it's not reliable. During the times of COVID, we made a decision here to staff the fire station 24/7 using both the Monday through Friday full-time and our part-time staff. And we did a phenomenal job of weathering that. Our part-time staff really stepped up. They filled shifts from the time they got off of work until the time they left for their daytime job during the day. So we did a phenomenal job getting through that. But again, we always knew that we had to make a strategic shift to a 24/7 full-time staffing model.
Yeah, because Chief, how has Shakopee grown? I mean, we kind of see it, and anecdotally you go, wow, it's really getting bigger by the year. But talk to us a little bit about what some of the challenges have been as the city's been growing.
It's tremendous. The city of Shakopee has grown population-wise over 25% in the last decade, which is astonishing, and that's a challenge, right, for the fire department to be able to come up with that, keep up with that type of growth, and be able to look towards the future. And not only just population-wise, but we are a large entertainment area. For the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and we have Valley Fair, Canterbury Park, Mystic Lake right down the road, the Renaissance Festival, a new amphitheater coming, and it's just incredible.
Absolutely. For those who maybe have kind of followed what's been happening in the department over the years, there were some independent audits done, and I want to talk specifically about response times here. It found 10 to 12 minute response time, the national standard 5 to 7 minutes. What do you see moving forward here with response times and how this might be able to really help you all?
Well, this is going to be a huge boost. Adding the 12 full-time firefighters is going to allow us to staff Station 2 for the first time ever full-time, which is on the west end of our town and holds a good portion of our population. And so we'll be able to respond to that area of town in that 5 to 7 minute range. And that's really what we're looking forward to.
Yeah, critical seconds, obviously, for you all to be able to respond. You kind of taken things over now. Applications are open. What's the culture you want to build here, and then what kinds of people are you looking for to fill these positions?
That's a great question. What we look for here in the city of Shakopee wide, but definitely in the fire department here, is we're looking for really good people. Excellent candidates, just all around good human beings. That's who we want to hire. We can train most people to be good firefighters. We want to hire good people.
Yeah, and again, those are open right now. So this is a 3-year grant. It looks like maybe Hopkins, Burnsville, Eden Prairie, Maplewood also got some money. 3 years down the road, this money runs out. Well, what are you thinking as far as planning ahead? And 12 is great. Is 12 enough? Kind of pushing you forward a little bit here?
Yeah, so we had a department study in early 2024 that pointed out a good roadmap of where we should be looking for the future. The 12 is not enough, but it gets us very close. And it allows the city to ramp up in the next few years to be ready in that fourth year to be able to fund these positions. And in the meantime, then also look at the additional number of staffing that we need in order to look for the future and be prepared.
Yeah, well, an incredible, I think the word I kept seeing was transformational moment for the department here. So you must be thrilled.
We are thrilled, and you made a good point about all of the other departments that have received grants as well. This isn't just a Shakopee problem. Yeah. This is a Minnesota suburban fire department problem, and it's affecting all of us.
Yeah.
So it's very important. We're thrilled. We're honored. We don't take this lightly, and we're just very excited to be looking for the future. And this is a historic time for the city of Shakopee and the Shakopee Fire Department.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you coming on, and we'll continue to just kind of see how things are going over the course of the next couple of years for you all. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. All right, take care. Thanks, Chief. All right, let's see here. Gosh, you know, Ryan, who is in the booth for us here, is probably the biggest baseball fan I know. Yeah, probably. I think so. I mean, travel to all the stadiums and things like that. And
I'm the in-house baseball.
You really
fan,
are.
Yeah.
You're the person we look to. And nobody, you know, some of us are not. I'm a casual baseball fan. I just, you know, I love it. But you are so in there, and you're like, oh. But World Series time is unlike any other time, whether you're a casual fan or not,
yes.
right? I mean, and. Talk to us about what happened last night, Ryan.
Wild game. Wow. Amy, I wish I could say that I saw the whole thing, but, you know, we got to be here early.
Even the most dedicated, diehard baseball fan was like,
I had to make a business decision because I have to be here a little bit before 8, so I had to cut it. Now, I would say if either team had a chance to win it, I would have held out for the whole thing just to see how it ends. But since it wasn't a clinching game, I had to I was out at the 12th inning, but just a great game. The Dodgers win it in the bottom of the 18th. Freddie Freeman, who's no stranger to walk-off home runs on this stage, hit a walk-off deep to center field, and the Dodgers won. So it's the longest game since 2007, longest World Series game, I should say, since 2017. A game which also included the Dodgers, which the Dodgers won in a walk-off fashion. Yeah. So they are used to these marathon games, but incredible game. Did you watch some of it?
I did not. Well, I watched it until the Timberwolves started.
I know.
And then I watched that, but I didn't even make it to the end of the Timberwolves. To be honest, it was just it was one of the. You know,
these are late games.
These are late games. These West Coast games are really brutal.
You could have watched like a full baseball game, the entire Wolves game, and then come back for another full baseball game.
Yeah, seriously, it was that. My husband did stay up though. He grew up in that area in Dodger country. Although I will say we were both kind of pulling for the Blue Jays. I'm the underdog here. Story is really sweet. It's just really sweet. So we'll see what happens. But 18 innings, Shohei Ohtani just continues to razzle dazzle, and is he starting pitcher?
He is your Game 4 starting pitcher. So he's doing all of this stuff.
Okay.
You know, they intentionally walked him last night because they didn't want him to end it, and then he's stealing bases or trying to steal bases. He does it all. He really does. He is a one-of-a-kind athlete, and I've never seen a player like him in baseball.
And did the closer, and I know you didn't say it, the closer for the Dodgers, didn't he just get there?
Hiroki Sasaki, yes. He is a rookie. He started the season and it did not go well. He was a little wild, and then he was injured for most of the season and didn't really know that he was going to factor into any of the Dodgers postseason plans. And now he is their closer because their bullpen is not their strong part, and he has kind of held that closer position down. So wild.
But there's another guy, another pitcher, who was he's like, I was just in Arizona like a month ago. Watching these games, and did I make this? Did I dream this? Did this not happen? And what starts with a W? Was he a Dodgers? But maybe he wasn't the closer.
You could very well be right.
Maybe it happened at like 1 a.m. when you had checked out.
As big of a baseball fan as I am, there were a lot of pitchers who entered the game last night.
There we go. Yeah. Who
I had not heard of. So I think
this was one of them. I bet then. I get it. I don't know who I'm thinking of here, but Ohtani did nope. Well, Will Klein.
Will Klein, yeah. And he was in late in the game, right? I think he was maybe the last pitcher to go.
Yes, yeah,
and warming up in the bullpen was Yamamoto, who started game 2. So they were going to have to throw him back out there. We saw Clayton Kershaw pitch a little bit. So
incredible.
And it's his last year, so just a wild game. Dodgers up 2-1. Game 4 is tonight. Back in Los Angeles.
Thank goodness it's in LA. They don't have to get on a plane and travel.
Yeah. I mean, if that game would have ended in Toronto, it would have been close to 3 a.m. Where at least in LA it was, around midnight. So.
Yeah. My goodness sakes. Okay, good stuff. We'll talk a little bit more with Jimmy when he comes on later next hour, right?
Sounds good.
There's a lot to talk about here. I know you're going to get ready here for our next interview, which is also sports related. I cut you loose if you need to.
He's ready to go.
Oh, great. Great coach is ready to go. Also, Timberwolves ended up losing to Denver Nuggets last night. They just were dropping everything as far as they were just making all the shots, the Nuggets. And of course, we still don't have Ant back, so we'll see. Hopefully, in a week or so, we'll know more about Ant's status, and hopefully we'll get him back sooner rather than later. All right, so. This also was kind of a big bombshell yesterday, and dust is starting to settle a little bit. The season is over, as we know, for Vikings quarterback Carson Wentz. And really, of all the scenarios that could have played out this year, at the beginning of this year, is this one that anybody would have seen coming? We have a 32-year-old veteran QB who came in, led the team to 2 wins in his 5 starts, as he was kind of helping to buy some time for J.J. McCarthy to heal from that high ankle sprain. But then we saw over the course of the last couple of games at least, Wentz was playing through some really obvious pain. And then, of course, yesterday, the news nobody wanted to hear that Wentz needs shoulder surgery, and he's out for the year. So we asked a friend of the show, Coach Randy Hedberg, to join us. Somebody who's been watching Carson's journey closely for a long time, as QB coach from NDSU, now retired Coach Randy Hedberg. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us, Coach.
Well, thanks for having me, Amy. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So, all right, let's take us back to that Chargers game as you were watching. I'm curious, what was kind of going through your mind as that game went on, knowing Carson the way you do?
Well, as you can tell, Carson's a great competitor. He showed that through this whole process. Very tough. That was hard to watch against the Chargers because he was under constant pressure. Numerous times was hit and sacked and tried to get rid of the ball and got rid of the ball and got hit. And so it was hard to watch that game just because you knew what he's going through. And being a former quarterback myself, it's not easy going through some of those situations because you fall behind and you got to throw to catch up, and it's not easy. But he hung in there, and I guess I really didn't know, Amy, about his injury. That happened at the London game, but I knew he was hurting because of the heavy brace on his left shoulder. But as you could see, that's a tough one.
Yeah, and clearly NFL, different than college. But had you seen Carson react sort of like that to injury in your time with him?
Well, he got injured. He broke a bone in his wrist, his throwing wrist. During his senior season, early in his senior season for us in 2015. And he was able to come back and play in the national championship game, but that wasn't anything like this. He had surgery at that point, but this one was one that gave him immense pain, as you could tell, and still staying in there and playing with it was pretty remarkable.
Yeah. What was it like to kind of hear, the chatter out there? We had everything from, a lot of fans were saying, get him out of there, get him. You can see he's in so much pain. And then there was at least one national commentator who made kind of made a remark about, gosh, you got to kind of suck this up. You got to suck it up because this is the NFL and you're the leader and you're the alpha. What was it like to kind of take all that in, given sort of your more personal relationship with Carson?
Amy, that was difficult on Thursday night, watching that, and then the commentators commenting on his leadership style. I hope that they'll come back and rebut themselves a little bit as far as what they said, because I think he was showing leadership by being out there. And I know his teammates knew what the pain tolerance was that he had.
Yeah.
And I think that was critical. And I would say if you asked any of his teammates that particular day, they would be 100% with Carson. And also, that'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah. Can you walk us through from kind of a coach's mindset, your QB coach, coach's mindset, and then also from a player's mindset here, two different tracks, but in that position as a coach, how would you have handled that? And again, there's a lot of criticism on KOC right now, and should have taken him out earlier. So that's one piece that I'm curious about your mindset there. But then as a player, I mean, have you ever seen a player say, "Yeah, coach, you got to take me out. I can't do this," or is that just a no-no in the NFL, especially?
Oh, Amy, I really think that obviously the doctors consult with the head coach, and I'm sure they consulted with Carson. Let's go to this type of injury, a concussion, for instance. If a young man gets a concussion, the doctors will step in and say, "No way, he's not going to play anymore." Head-related, obviously. Shoulder-related, I don't know. That's an interesting comeback on what a doctor would do. As a coach, the player's going to make the call. At some point, you're going to have to say, "We got to cut our losses and go to the next one." Because we're in this to protect young people too. It's not always going to happen that way. But the National Football League is a lot different than the college game I dealt with. But you
played in the NFL too, right? As a QB, so you know.
Yeah, I played with a concussion. I know how that goes.
Yeah.
But the thing about I think one of our quarterbacks had a similar injury to Carson. We sat him down. His shoulder. He was down. He didn't play anything. He had surgery. Now he's starting quarterback for the Bison and have a great season, but a similar type injury.
At the risk of asking sort of a leading question here, but you just know him so well. One school of thought out there is that Carson really, his role in all of this has been to really buy time for a JJ McCarthy or even a Max Brosmer. And a lot of people feel like here's a guy who really was sacrificing his own body really to continue to do as much as he could despite the pain, despite the injury. How do you feel about that kind of narrative?
I don't know. That's an interesting one. Watching the game on Thursday, I thought, heck, I don't know if as a coach I would have allowed that to continue with him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not questioning anybody. I don't know if that was the way it should have been. He was getting hit a lot, and he seemed to be in a lot of pain during the course of the game. But it was interesting how it all played out. But in the long run, I think Carson knew that it was team. Football is the ultimate team game. I think he took that one for the Vikings.
Yeah, and finally, just knowing him again so well as you do, what do you think his mindset is right now as he's kind of going through this new normal?
Well, I think he's going to wait to have surgery after his new baby's born.
Yeah.
And then he'll get ready to play, and I think he wants to play again. I would say he's a competitor, and he sees himself as a quarterback in the NFL and being successful at it. And I think he fared well prior to the injury, and thought he played extremely well at certain times until he got banged up in London.
Yeah, and we are all Monday morning quarterbacking this thing right now, looking back and going, wow, after everything he's going through, what he accomplished is quite really respectable and admirable. I think a lot of fans feel like. So thank you, Coach, for joining us. Always appreciate your insight. Take care. We'll talk soon.
Okay, Amy, thanks for having me.
All right, you bet. Thanks, Coach Randy Hedberg. All right, let's take a quick break and come on back after this. All Day Live continues. Stay with us. And welcome back, Ryan, as we have about a minute left here before we start the second hour. You still got your eyes on Hurricane Melissa at this point, right?
Yeah, as we noted earlier this hour, that storm has made landfall in Jamaica as a Category 5 storm. So just kind of looking at some cameras right now. Nothing, just very windy. I think I saw wind speeds up to 180 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So this is a serious storm that's making its way across Jamaica right now.
Yeah, stronger than Katrina, they're saying. So we got a lot coming up here in the next hour as well. We're going to be, again, keeping an eye on Hurricane Melissa, keeping track of the Minneapolis Public Schools authorization to authorize an educator strike. We'll continue watching that. The government shutdown continues today. Air traffic controllers now keeping an eye on that situation as many of the essential workers are not getting their first full paycheck. It's going to be a zero today, so we'll watch to see if that has any more fallout. And then a little bit later, the Blue Line crew, an opportunity to join the Blue Line crew, not the Blue Man Group, the Blue Line crew.
Vegas?
Vegas? Yeah, I knew that would get your attention. This is a local effort, great opportunity for folks who want to be part of the World Juniors, which is coming here December, January.
It's coming up.
It's right around the corner.
It was always something that was way in the distance,
totally.
but
Yep.
it's coming up.
You can be an ambassador for Minnesota, for hockey, the state of hockey. Good opportunity. We'll talk about that with the guests coming up here as well. So let's take a break, and we'll start it all over again here after the break. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. We're glad that you're here as we roll into the 1 o'clock hour on All Day Live. Hope you're having a good day. I know the weather's different depending upon where you are today. Here in the West Metro, it's been a little bit more drippy than those of you have seen in the East Metro, but a fairly mild week this week as fall weeks go. We wanted to run through some of the headlines that we are following for you at this hour, and we wanted to start with a developing story in Minneapolis Public Schools specifically, where educators could walk off the job in a matter of days. So it was overnight that we learned that the teachers union said that the vote was in, and they said members overwhelmingly, I think it was something like 92%, authorized a strike. We know that later this afternoon there's going to be a rally about 4:30 outside of district headquarters. Now, the teachers union has not yet set a date for this possible walkout. The soonest, though, if you're kind of doing the math that this could happen, would likely be like November 13th. Ryan did cut a portion of a press conference that they just held a short time ago, and I believe we're going to hear from the president of the Minneapolis Federation of Educators. Let's listen in.
I know that there are people in the Davis Center who have spent the same amount of effort in the last year attempting to forge strong relationship with this union. And we said, new year, new era. We were going to build a destination district together, keeping the students and the families that we serve in mind. That it was imperative that we, in public education, become the bulwark against the assault on our democracy itself. That is what we are keeping in the forefront of our mind, that public education is a common good. That is what we're fighting for. That is what we breathe into life in every proposal that we made. We're keeping the budget in mind, and we will keep that in mind in every negotiation move that we make. We're not asking for
the sun and the moon.
And it's a negotiation, you know what I mean? So whatever we start with and whatever we end with, it's going to be for the good of the entire district and the city of Minneapolis. So we will be open. Our phone line is open, our email is open, our hearts are open, and our hope is open that there are people that are willing to actually come to the table and negotiate.
And we'll continue to follow that for you as that vote just came in overnight last night, and in the coming days here we'll have probably more information to see how those mediation sessions are going. Just really quickly, I think we're going to check in with our Rob Olson here in just a second on a story he's working on, but also just a reminder that today is that day when 1,000 Target employees from Target Corp are getting the word of whether or not they're being laid off. Target's eliminating 1,000 positions at headquarters and then another 800 open positions, about 8% of the workforce. So that is also happening today. Let's see, do we have Rob ready to go? Okay, perfect. So in about an hour from now, here locally, as a reflection of what's going on nationally, air traffic controllers are going to be outside of MSP Airport. Rob Olson is following this today. Rob, obviously this has to do with the government shutdown and what's happening. Tell us about what we'll see here on the ground at MSP.
Yeah, and this is scheduled, Amy, for 2 to 7 p.m. at the departure level of the airport, where the Air Traffic Controllers Association, the union, will be handing out leaflets to travelers, basically saying that the shutdown needs to end now, explaining the concerns, the risks. You know, they say a lot of the controllers have been working mandatory overtime, 6-day weeks, 10 hours a day. There were some staffing issues that had been rising and delaying some flights. The leafleting is happening at 19 airports across the country. I've seen video today from other airports where it's actually already been happening today. But again, at MSP, it's starting at about 2 o'clock here. The message they're sending here is not political, at least in terms of taking a side. The side that they're taking, at least in the messaging that we've received so far, is just urging lawmakers in Congress to get together and end this as soon as possible. Now, on the other hand of this, there was a news conference this morning in New York with the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, who stood next to union leaders. Certainly the Transportation Secretary did take more of a political bent, blaming the Democrats for the shutdown. The union leaders so far are kind of staying out of that partisan talk of this, just saying that this needs to end now. Today was the first day where they got a zero paycheck, and so they say they're really starting to feel the effects of this personally with a lot of air traffic controllers. starting to take second jobs to try to make sure that they can pay the bills.
Yeah, so some really critical positions. Obviously, the essential workers, of which they are included, they had sort of a straddled paycheck on one side of the shutdown, on the other side that got them to this point. But you're right, today's the first zero paycheck for these folks. And yeah, I see what the union is saying here as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. But again, 2 to 7 p.m. in the departures area, and it sounds like they'll just kind of be walking around handing out these leaflets.
Yeah. Okay. Yep, leaflets to say, just end the shutdown and explaining the effect. Here's what what it says: distributing leaflets to travelers to explain how the shutdown will worsen a pre-existing controller staffing crisis that has existed for years, and why they want to get this done now. Also worsening or the halting of critical modernization projects at the FAA. So just trying to encourage travelers to exert some of their own pressure on members of Congress to come to a resolution. Now, the Transportation Secretary today said 44% of staffing issues on Sunday caused by air traffic controller absences, 24% on Monday, compared to 5% average before the shutdown.
Okay.
And they're seeing, we're starting to see some delays according to flight tracking services. Those don't automatically, or those don't make a connection to why the flights are delayed. They just show an increasing delay. And again, the Transportation Secretary is seeing some staffing shortages at air traffic control towers.
Okay, yeah, this will be one to watch for sure as this drags on for day 28, I believe now. So, all right, thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. We'll check in with you a little bit later tonight. Okay, and speaking of that, I know Ryan's been watching Capitol Hill right now, and is it House Dems that are holding this press conference, Ryan? Okay. Okay, Minority Leader Jeffries. And then did you say, is Angie Craig, did you see her? Oh, she hasn't spoken yet. Okay, so Ryan's keeping an eye on that. And did you want to dip in right now and just take, okay, let's listen for a second. So again, this is the House Democrats, and what's happening, the vote is in the Senate, but these are House Democrats now holding this press conference. We'll listen in here for just a minute.
Acknowledge that this fund can be used in order to deal with SNAP benefits. There's nothing stopping the Trump administration from making sure that every single one of the 42 million Americans, 16 million children, 8 million seniors, 4 million people with disabilities, 1.2 million veterans receive nutrition assistance in November. And we are at a cost of living crisis with skyrocketing food costs. And President Trump is doing right now is using the fear that so many working people have about where their next meal is coming from as a political bargaining chip. Does anyone actually believe for 1 second that if President Trump really wanted to cover the SNAP benefits, they would not be able to find the money? When he wanted to bail out his buddy in Argentina, they found $40 billion. When he wanted to build a new ballroom to host his billionaire donors, they found $350 million. They found the money. When he wanted to make sure his Homeland Security Secretary could fly in style on 2 new luxury private jets, they found the money, $172 million. But now, when it comes to making sure hungry families can put food on the table, all of a sudden...
And so Democrats here, we're hearing, they're talking about specifically the SNAP benefits that we know are set to expire on Saturday, and that's been a real pain point here for a lot of folks as they look to the supplemental nutrition program and the benefits that will be no longer as of November 1st. And then also just wanted to add, if we'll go back to if Angie Craig pops up, we might get back to it here. It's our representative here in Minnesota. But the nation's largest federal employees union, also today a development is that they are now pressuring Democrats to accept the GO plan to temporarily reopen the government. It's the American Federation of Government Employees. It represents more than 800,000 workers, and they are now backing this Republican measure as well. So it just kind of keeps going back and forth and back and forth. 13th vote scheduled, I believe, for today, with nothing I've read that shows any indication that there's going to be any movement there. All right, we'll take a quick break and come back. We want to check back in on Hurricane Melissa, though, as we have been watching it here over the course of the last hour, making landfall in Jamaica, 185-mile-an-hour winds. We'll check that and much more here on All Day Live. Stay with us. And welcome back to All Day Live. Just trying to kind of keep a handle on all the different moving parts today. One of the big stories that you'll see everywhere today is Hurricane Melissa, this catastrophic storm making a landfall. Ryan, I don't know if you can pop in here for just a second. I know you've been watching this, and was it about an hour or so ago that we saw this?
Right after noon our time is when it made landfall in Jamaica, the southwest portion of the island. And Chris, if we can throw up that, here you're getting some images here. Now these live cameras, and this is a Category 5 hurricane here, so it's kind of hard to see what's going on, but you can see a shot of the sea there, and then flooding is a major concern here, along with winds up to 185 miles per hour, but there is a massive amount of rainfall falling, and that flooding is a major concern here. Yeah. Just a real serious situation going on here, Amy. Jamaica now. This storm is going to move into Cuba later tonight. I think I heard on Fox Weather that the storm was speeding up a little bit, so that may impact the arrival when it comes to Cuba later tonight. But that would be relatively good news for Jamaica if that storm can kind of clear out sooner rather than later, and then on from Cuba to the Bahamas. So no impact to the U.S., but a very serious situation going on down there.
Yeah, Cody was saying by all major weather metrics, including by minimum central pressure, Melissa is stronger than Katrina, easily one of the strongest Atlantic hurricanes on record, which date back to the 1870s. So we'll continue to watch what happens there in Jamaica as well.
And we want to do some Fox weather coverage there in break right now, but let's go back out, Chris, if we can, to the Capitol, where Representative Angie Craig is now speaking as the Democrats hold this press conference. Let's listen in there.
The only priority this Congress has been the big ugly bill, which not only cut health care by $1 trillion, but also cut SNAP by $186 billion. A frontal assault on our most effective basic need food assistance program to help vulnerable members of our community who rely on it to keep food on the table. Now the administration is taking food away from 16 million children, 8 million seniors, and 1.2 million veterans. Their hands are not tied. Their hands are not tied. The law is clear. The law is as clear as this administration's cruelty is as clear. The law is as unambiguous as congressional Republicans' desire to let the ACA tax credits expire. It is unconscionable. It is egregious, and it is illegal. I'm calling on the president to do the right thing and the moral thing, which coincidentally offers him a chance to do something he rarely does, which is follow the law. I'm calling on my Republican colleagues to speak up to your friends in this administration and at the USDA and deliver a simple message. They have the money and the authority to fund SNAP. Hungry Americans are not poker chips. Their health and well-being are not to be gambled with. And I so appreciate the attorneys generals from across this nation, including my own Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, for standing up to this administration earlier today. Stop playing politics with America's hungry children, veterans, the disabled, seniors. Get back to the negotiating table. Open up the government and fund SNAP in November. Thank you.
Connecticut joined that suit too, so excited to be with you.
Okay, I'm just looking through some of my notes as we are going to hear from Hakeem Jeffries. We just wanted to listen in here as our Representative Angie Craig took the microphone. I'm just looking at some Speaker Mike Johnson quotes here as just to sort of respond on standalone bills like SNAP or funding the government. Be futile legislative effort for us to do this again repetitively in the House and then send it over to the Democrats. Let's see, he would accuse Chuck Schumer of playing games and says it's a waste of our time. So That is what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. as day 28 continues here of this government shutdown. Okay, Ryan, let's see. Did you want to go back to Fox Weather? Okay, let's do that. Let's check in with Fox Weather as it looks like they're back from commercial and see what they're, how they're talking about this Hurricane Melissa.
Just starting to fill with clouds, so you can see that the eye is sort of up here. So there's the circle, and that's why they called New Hope the landfall point. That's the center of the circle, but the top part of the eye, because of the friction with the land and bumping into the hills and mountains there to the north, was already beginning to get disrupted at that point. A little wider view here, you see where it is now. It's already almost halfway across the island. So this is going to move quickly here. So this is the worst part of the storm, right in there. And then over here, the winds are all coming onshore. So we're still putting storm surge into Black River there on down to Treasure Beach, maybe on up to New Hope there. Then this is a fairly unpopulated part of the coast here, and some water is being pushed toward Kingston Harbor, but the winds in Kingston are not terrible, but just the water coming into the harbor is going to hold some of the water from running off the mountains from getting out. So on that whole south coast, as long as the wind is onshore, that's going to exacerbate the flooding from the fresh water that's coming down the hill. So we'll take a look at all that in one moment, but let's look at where this thing is and when it's going to be over. So there it is, still Category 5 hurricane. Here are the winds coming around like this, the strongest winds inside the hurricane force winds right here. So in Montego Bay, they're not probably in the core, but boy, it's close. And when the storm gets a little farther along, then it's really going to push Caribbean water up against that coastline right there. Here come the winds up this way. In Mandeville, 2,000 feet up. And as we were talking about earlier, the hurricane hunters measured 250-mile-an-hour winds, about 1,000 feet up, maybe a little less than 1,000 feet up. So just fearful for what's going on up there in those mountain communities. Mandeville is a pretty decent-sized city there, but obviously not at the coast. By about 4 p.m. today, according to the Hurricane Center forecast, the storm is right at the coast. At that time, the maximum push of water would be coming back around toward Montego Bay, but the storm is going away, so it's not the maximum push like you get on the south coast. But at this point, that's close to high tide, so you know, the Montego Bay Airport right there on the water, not sure if that berm around it is going to be able to hold back that tide. Where Robert Ray is over here in St. Anne's Bay, that's in the hurricane force gusts, right on the edge of the hurricane force winds. Ocho Rios just out of it. And you see there's still going to be onshore winds coming around this way at Kingston at high tide, even though the tides don't fluctuate a whole lot there in the Caribbean. But still, that's going to be holding the water in Kingston Harbor to some degree and prohibiting water from running out, which could exacerbate the flooding over the land. So at 8 p.m. tonight, there are the hurricane force gusts just departing the north coast. That's Eastern time. Take 1 hour off for Jamaica local time and then moving away. So 2 a.m. in the morning, the winds should be dying down below tropical storm strength, and then we'll just have to wait until sunrise because I doubt there's going to be much power in Jamaica here once this storm is over. Maybe in the eastern part, they'll be able to see exactly what has happened in terms of the flood. So the flooding is the issue once the wind is gone, because it takes time for the water that falls in the mountain to come down. And so the flooding can continue and can increase actually after the winds go by. You see there's the bullseye up in there, and we're talking up in the foot, maybe isolated 1.5 foot range left to go there. Another bullseye over here outside of Kingston. So that water is all going to come down through the Kingston the metropolitan area there that falls on those mountains up there. Looking at Black River. Now, Black River is right down from the landfall place, so the wind was coming around like this in Black River.
You can continue to watch more coverage here, Fox Weather, specifically listening to Brian Norcross there, as he has been around for decades. Definitely one of the top experts in his field, according to our chief meteorologist, Ian Leonard. We are going to, though, dip back into Washington, D.C., where it sounds like the Republicans now are holding a press conference. So we're, I believe, hearing from Senate Majority Leader John Thune, the Republican from South Dakota. Let's listen.
Signing the law and end the shutdown. I get the rationale. People think about these issues in terms of, well, this one, let's do this one, or this one. That's not the way to approach this. The way to approach this is to just to reopen the government.
Senator Kelsey yesterday said we should be here working to solve this. Can you characterize some of the discontent among senators who say this isn't getting worked out? Ryan's one of the idea here that you should vote on something different than what you've been voting on for weeks.
Well, and we have voted on something different a couple different times, as you know. We voted on the defense appropriation bills. They blocked it. We're trying to go to conference on the three bills that we've already passed, including the ag bill, which, by the way, would fund SNAP. And they're blocking us from going to conference on that. And last week, we voted on a Ron Johnson bill that would pay everybody who is currently working. I don't know how you defend or justify not paying people who are actually working, but they voted against that. So, you know, I'm open to suggestions, obviously, and we've had people throw out different ideas about when we ought to be here and we shouldn't be here. But it doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense to just repetitively now go down and have the Democrats vote over and over again against opening the government. And so I'm not sure, we'll obviously have that conversation with our conference, but the value of being here for the weekend.
There have been Republicans and Democratic administrations have tapped into contingency funds to help pay for these expiring SNAP benefits. Why not do that now to allow for this lifeline to continue for just a few more weeks for people who really need it?
Well, does it make any sense to any American, with the exception of obviously it would benefit people who are receiving food assistance through SNAP, but to keep the government shut down for another 3 weeks? Why wouldn't you just open it up and have everybody get their benefits now? Again, I don't understand the thinking or the rationale behind, doing these one-off, rifle shots to try and do pieces of this and pieces of this. I think that the White House, obviously, is faced with a tough decision. They have to figure out how do they, reallocate, reprioritize funding, where it goes, where it doesn't go. And they're doing everything they can legally and with the capacity that they have available to them to try and make this, I think, as painless as possible. But there is a point at which they don't have that capacity anymore. And I think we've reached that point. I think they're at a point now where the government either has to open up, the White House can try and reallocate, move money around, but I think we're at a point now where it's simply a question of whether or not the Democrats are, there are enough Democrats with enough backbone and enough courage to take on their left-wing groups out there. I mean, when you get a union like the AFGE who comes out and says, open up the government, I mean, that is about as reliable of a Democrat constituency as you can possibly have. And yet that's the conclusion they came to. But they seem more interested right now in what MoveOn.org, Indivisible, No Kings, and all these crazy left-wing groups have to say. I mean, they are scared of them. They're just flat scared of them. It's that simple. And that's why we need some courageous
Okay, so we wanted to listen to some of what the Republicans had to say, as well as we are continuing to monitor the government shutdown. And then while I was listening to that, just really quickly as we go to break here, a scam alert having to do with SNAP benefits, which is what we were just talking about. We were listening to them talking about from Pine County specifically, but the Sheriff's Office, Pine County Health and Human Services, warning SNAP recipients to be cautious of scam messages related to the current government shutdown and SNAP benefits. A recent scam involves text messages that basically say things like, your county has approved a set amount of money for food relief, claim it by this number. It is a scam. Do not click on these links, is what they're telling us. So whether it's Pine County or any other county, if you get these kinds of alerts, it looks like there are unfortunately people who are trying to take advantage of the situation right now, particularly with those SNAP benefits, to get your information. So I wanted to pass that along. All right, let's take a quick break and come back. We're going to talk about what's the Blue Line crew And how can you join? It sounds like fun. If you love hockey, if you love the state of hockey, if you love Minnesota, if you love being an ambassador for the state of Minnesota, the World Juniors Championship is coming to the Twin Cities, and this is a really pretty cool opportunity for you to get involved. So we're going to talk about that when All Day Live continues right after this break. Okay, welcome back. It's 1:30 here on All Day Live. Do you love hockey? Are you proud to be a Minnesotan? Do you want to be a part of one of the biggest events of the winter? Then this segment is for you. Joining me now is Kathy Gullickson, Director of Volunteer Programs for Minnesota Sports and Events and World Juniors. Kathy, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
So, okay, you're putting the call out ahead of the World Juniors Hockey Championship this December and January in the Twin Cities. What is the Blue Line crew? Tell us all about it.
Well, this is the volunteer crew that is going to make everything happen for the World Junior Championship. We have opportunities at FanFest at River Center, at Rice Park, and at both of the arenas. A majority of the activities are going to be fan-facing. This is an opportunity for us to play on the international stage and contribute and create a huge impact to our community.
Yeah, so many eyes on what's going to be happening here over the course of the next couple of months. You know, it reminds me of what we saw during the Super Bowl, these kind of volunteer ambassadors. And then I know you were part of the recruiting and managing of volunteers for the Big Ten Women's Basketball Championship in Minneapolis last year. Kind of what have you learned from that experience, and how do you hope it kind of plays out here in the course of the next few months?
Well, I will tell you, I have tremendous respect for this volunteer community. They come out and they play big. They show up. Our no-show ratio is so low compared to other parts of the country. They love it. They have so much fun. They connect with each other. They create Facebook groups together. They get back together again. So, I mean, our volunteers are just absolutely the best we can have in this country. And to come out and play with us, we'll have opportunities to play outside. and to get to wear your warm winter clothes, as well as some inside opportunities too. So this is an incredible opportunity to support the state of hockey with this great tournament.
Absolutely. So it looks like so December 26th or January 5th in St. Paul in Minneapolis. I'm so curious if you can tell us a little bit about let's talk about the types of jobs. And do you need to know anything about hockey to be able to join the Blue Line crew?
Absolutely not. You need to have a great attitude, and you have to be friendly and willing to help support athletes and fans. We will have some things associated with the teams, like getting the towels ready and the pucks ready and the snacks. But a majority of our opportunities are really going to be in the Fan Fest areas at St. Paul River Center and Rice Park. And this is going to be about helping individuals enjoy the activities that are free and open to the public to come and be part of this incredible tournament. We'll have a watch party. We've got some other secret things that we'll unveil later, but there's a lot of opportunities. There's opportunities to come and do a seated role or a very active participating role. So I've got something for just about everyone.
Wow. Is there an advantage to, I know registration I think is already open. Is there an advantage to kind of getting in earlier?
Best schedules are right now, so sign up quickly. And I think we've got 10 days of tournament, which requires a lot of volunteers. So we have just a little over 3,000 shifts. I'm going to need 1,000 volunteers. So come and get signed up early so you can get the best shift for your personal schedule. This is a time when the students are home too. So families might need a break. Come volunteer.
That is such a great point. Get everybody outside, helping other people. This 50th edition of the World Juniors this year at the Twin Cities. It's an incredible honor. Can you talk a little bit about the event itself for those who may not be as familiar, and even those who know? I mean, this is really, it doesn't get any better than this for watching and being a part of kind of the younger generations of future Hall of Famers probably in the NHL, right?
Yes, Amy, you're so right. This is the opportunity to come see all of the future NHL stars. And all of these kids are under 20 years old at the time of tournament. They are literally the best hockey players in the world. And this is such an incredible opportunity for Minnesota to be able to host this event and be able to bring 10 teams together. So the USA team is looking strong. We've got all kinds of people that are helping to ensure that this tournament goes well. And I will tell you, it's an international stage for us on the hockey front. And there is no better hockey that you can watch. Tickets are available. So get those tickets now. Come volunteer. Come be part of this incredible community.
And those who might be wondering, age range, things like that, is there an age range for volunteers? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
You have to be 18 years or older, and then come volunteer for a minimum of 3 shifts if you're inside, or just 2 shifts if you're outside. And don't be afraid of the outside shifts, because we're going to have a great warming trailer available along with a warming tent. So you'll work a little bit outside, warm up inside, work back outside. So we're going to make this really, really easy for our great hardy Minnesotans or outstate folks that want to come be part of this great Blue Line crew.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we should mention too that events are not just happening in the Twin Cities area. We have other cities, Bemidji, Duluth, Mankato, Rochester. Tell us about what's happening in those areas, and then also, do you need these ambassadors in those cities as well, or is it primarily for the Twin Cities?
We do. It's primarily for the Twin Cities, but I will tell you, these other cities do need individuals too. Reach out to us if you're interested, but I will tell you, that's where they're going to go do some of the warm-up games. And those exhibition games pre-tournament are going to be incredible hockey. And it's a way to sit right up front in these great community stadiums and ice rinks. They have worked so hard to ensure that they are ready for these international teams to come skate at the highest level. So yes, we could use help there too. Reach out to us and let us know what you'd like to do.
Okay. Did I miss anything? Kathy, we want to make sure we give everybody all the information they need. Tickets are on sale now. You can sign up to be a volunteer for the Blue Line crew. Anything else that we wanted to get out there?
WorldJuniorsMN26.com. That's what you need to know. So that's where you can buy tickets as well as sign up to be part of this fabulous Blue Line crew powered by God. Thank you so much, Amy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, we've been through this again with the Super Bowl. I think back to that and some of the other major athletic events, especially, is people wandering around, just looking around going, how do I get from here to there? Or how does the Skyway system work? Or how does the light rail work? Or, you know, all these questions that you could help people with and just introduce them to how amazing our community is. So thank you, Kathy, for joining us. We look forward to a lot more conversations with you as we get rolling. I know you guys are sprinting now. It's all like kind of just a downhill sprint from here. So thanks so much for your time.
Well, we look forward to having the viewers part of our team. Come join us.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks. Have a great day. We'll talk soon. Bye, Kathy. All right. All righty. Let's see here. Oh, really quickly, can I mention this? The Wild anniversary game tonight, Ryan, before we take a quick break. Do we have time? Celebrating 25th anniversary tonight in St. Paul. So this is the Wild. Former players including Marian Gaborik, Brian Rolston, Pierre-Marc Bouchard will be attending tonight's game against the Jets. So fans who bought special tickets are going to receive actually Marian Gaborik bobblehead. How cool is that? And then you can also maybe have a chance to get some autographs from the players. So they're going to wear their 25th anniversary jerseys for the first time. How cool is that? That's happening tonight. All right, let's take a quick break and come on back. Jim Rich is going to join us because there's so much to talk about with sports today. It's just one of those days. There's a lot going on, and particularly in the sports world, there's a lot going on. So a little check of the weather, Ryan tells me, and then we'll be right back with our Jim Rich. So stay with us. All Day Live continues.
Cloudy and drippy, or just cloudy, depending on where you are for the day today. Oh, yes, indeed, as we've got drips on the west side, clouds on the east side, and just kind of some fuzzy dampness in the in-between zones. That is most of the metro area overall. 53 degrees for a high today. Yeah, a lot of upper 40s west of town, a lot of low 50s east of town, and in the middle, we're kind of sandwiched in between as we have that rain shower action across western sections of our viewing area from most of Minnesota up into the 35 corridor. And then our Wisconsin zones and eastern Minnesota stay relatively dry, except for the 35 corridor, and that includes the Twin Cities, where we dance the dance with this little, I was going to say a rain-snow line. No, just a rain line that set up shop as we have this barrier of dry air. Southeastern flow has thrown that at us, and so we see this as we go through these next 12 hours. The rains marched right up into the West Metro last night around midnight, and we've picked up anything from, as of lunchtime, a quarter to a half inch of rain in the West Metro, but the East Metro, occasionally enough to wet the ground, some traces here and there as far east as St. Paul. I was over in St. Thomas mid-morning or so, dropping Jack off between shows this morning, and there was some dampness on some of the sidewalks there around campus, but yeah, not a thing like the puddles all over the West Metro. And again, as we head to the afternoon, it's like a wet towel has moved into parts of town and just wrings out that towel and it just gets stuck there and it all fades away tonight. So 50s today, gray, damp on the west side, not as damp on the east side. Then sunshine, almost an October-style midweek mellow at 55 for you and sun into the day on Wednesday. Thursday, a nice seasonable day in the low 50s, but I tell you, Halloween couldn't be more typical. Highs in the upper 40s with extra cloud cover. Kind of spooky looking at times. That's exactly what Halloween's supposed to be like. November, a little cooler than average, but just barely at 46 with some passing clouds. We kick out daylight saving time, so back to standard time on Sunday. Could see a shower chance as the sun goes down at 4:59 in the afternoon, but it is warmer than average as we go those lower 50s into the early days of next week. Fox 9 All Day Live continues. We're back right after the break.
welcome back to All Day Live. Just keeping our eye on something here. I don't know if, Ryan, we have that jam cam shot, but Lauren Andrego told us about over an hour ago now about this, and it's still, I think, something that that folks are responding to here. But this is an area of southbound Highway 65 and County Road 10 in Spring Lake Park. A semi truck and trailer, according to State Patrol, tried to go under that County 10 bridge when the trailer struck the bridge deck, and then that caused the semi truck and trailer to become disconnected. And then another vehicle struck that disconnected trailer. That semi was hauling a metal pedestrian bridge. No injuries related to this. And then also just pointing out, this is the County Road 10 bridge, not the Highway 10 bridge just to the north of this. Currently, let's see, I don't know if it's still, looks like it's still the case. Southbound Highway 65 is closed, being diverted to westbound County Road 10. Northbound Highway 65 closed there and being diverted to eastbound County Road 10. So wanted to bring you up to speed on what's going on in that Spring Lake Park area. If that is part of your commute today or where you're going to be driving, just be aware of that. A lot of stories that we are following for today that you'll see a little bit later on here in our newscast. We talked to our Rob Olson just a short time ago at the top of this hour, and he's been following what looks like a situation at MSP Airport in the departures. From 2 to 7, they're going to be handing out the union representing the air traffic controllers is going to be handing out leaflets, trying to get people involved, the general public more involved, and hearing kind of their side of the story, which is they want the government shutdown to end so that they can get back to work. Today is the first day that those essential government employees, so people like the air traffic controllers, law enforcement, federal law enforcement officers, today's that first day they're going to see a 0 on the paycheck. The paycheck prior to this, during this 28-day shutdown, it's kind of straddled pre-shutdown and then when the shutdown started, so there was a partial check. This is that first 0 check, and we know that watching the air traffic control situation in cities like Phoenix, there were concerns because some of those folks had been calling in sick when they started to not get paid, even though 28 days ago, and that caused some disruptions. And now that they are fully not getting paid, there is some concern from the transportation secretary that this could start to get even bigger. So we're keeping an eye on that story today with our Rob Olson. And then also, some of you may know some Target employees, friends or family who work at corporate. We know that Target has notified folks today, is notifying them 1,000 employees, 1,000 positions being eliminated, primarily at headquarters is what we understand. 8% of the global workforce for Target, and then eliminating 800 new positions that had not been filled yet in order to restructure. So that's happening with Target. Also keeping an eye on the Minneapolis, the union for, it's a federation of educators. These are teachers and others, paras, adult educators who are now working toward trying to negotiate a new contract. And they authorized, after several days of voting, overnight last night, authorized a strike. That doesn't mean a strike's going to happen, but they've authorized it to happen. I believe it was about a 92% approval for that to happen. So now we just wait and see. No date has been chosen yet for a possible walkout. We don't have any other details, but there are some more mediation sessions scheduled here, so we'll keep on top of that as well. But today the news you're going to hear is that they authorized the strike overnight. So those are a couple of the things we're watching, and then also, of course, Hurricane Melissa, which is just a kind of a, it's just to put it into context, our Cody Matz was saying earlier that it's more powerful than Katrina, and this direct hit on Jamaica made landfall. It was about noon-ish our time when that happened, and so we've been watching some of that as well to bring you the very latest. And Fox Weather, of course, is covering that wall-to-wall if you want to watch some of that coverage too. Those are some of the things that we're watching right now, and I know we're waiting for Jim Rich to hop on as well. Oh, he is great. We can talk to Jimmy. A little earlier, we talked to QB Carson Wentz for the Minnesota Vikings. His former college coach, Coach Randy Hedberg, joined us, and we talked a little bit about kind of what's been going on with the QB situation. Jim Rich, do you want to join us now? Hi, Jimmy. How's it going?
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Better than Carson Wentz.
Oh, gosh. That, we all saw it play out, right? That night of the Chargers, and even prior to that, it sounds like he was really struggling. And now the bombshell yesterday that we learned that his left shoulder is so messed up that he's got to undergo surgery, out for the season. But also there's a lot of fallout and kind of questions, some probably fair questions around, how did we get here and where do we go from here, Jimmy? So what are you seeing here today?
I'm stunned at what I witnessed. And for this team to know he was injured way back in London, and you had no plan for Brosmer to come in. I mean, your job is to win football games, right? That's their job. Okay, but we're making sure, it's just so weird because we're making sure that JJ McCarthy is the picture of health. Can't hangnail, nothing. He has to be absolutely perfect. Yet we're going to throw a guy out there with a busted shoulder. I mean, it's crazy. What's Brosmer there for? Or why did you not go get another quarterback if you knew this guy was this dinged up? And that's fine that Carson Wentz says he's going to play and, I'm going in there, I'm a warrior. Yeah, that's right. That's why they have concussion protocol. That's why there's people upstairs that buzz down and says, hey, the guy still wants to play, but then he walks to the wrong sideline. There's a reason you have to protect the player. And even if Wentz is fine and they couldn't do more damage, he wasn't going to win you that football game with one arm. You could see it. He couldn't run anymore. The pain was so bad, he couldn't get out of his own way. So why do you not have a situation where Brosmer's ready to go? And you could go back to last year's playoff game after Darnold was a disaster against Detroit, and you had Daniel Jones sitting there, yet you didn't have one package for Daniel Jones to change it up. You just ran the exact same offense you ran the week before that got annihilated by the Lions, and then he got annihilated in the playoffs. It's very strange for this guy to be a quarterback's coach, supposedly, and let the guy go out there and hang himself. It was crazy to watch.
You represent so many fans right now that we're seeing, on social media who are feeling the same way, Jimmy. And so, I guess what are the questions for the organization at this point? Some of which I think are, and I think you would agree, are fair questions to ask.
Well, you're here to win games. It's not like baseball, where they'll have a bullpen game and, whatever, our pitchers are tired. Whatever, we got 162 of these. There's only 17. You can't throw away games and say, well, we're waiting for JJ to get healthy. No, you got to come up every game and try to figure out how to win. I mean, it was just like O'Connell stood there on the sidelines and just watched it. You had Aaron Jones back, you had everybody healthy, and you rushed the ball 5 times in the first half with a quarterback with a broken shoulder. This is like, you're not even giving yourself a chance to win. It was very weird. Yeah. And then he goes 1 for 6 in the Eagles game in the red zone. So, and the throws were off, and we're going like, oh, he's a little battered, whatever. He's trying to play through it. I mean, you have to adapt on the fly. And O'Connell is supposed to be this great offensive coach and knows all this stuff. Well, come up with some different things or try something. And if Brosmer goes in there and throws 2 pick sixes, okay, then we know. But then he's got to answer the question like Zim when he talked about Kellen Mond. When we go, why aren't you putting Kellen Mond in? What did Zim say? I've seen him in practice.
Oh, wow.
Remember that?
Yeah, you've been around long enough to remember that. That's right. That's right.
For being honest, can't play.
I wanted to. So we'll hear from KOC tomorrow, I believe. They have their Wednesday press conference that we'll take live. But Jeff Wald put into our Slack here that KOC did that weekly segment that he does with Paul Allen this morning, and it says talked extensively about Carson Wentz, and he shared a tweet here from Kevin Seifert, of course, who writes for ESPN. one of the longtime writers here for who's covered the Vikings beat. It says Kevin O'Connell. This is Kevin's tweet. It says Kevin O'Connell on Carson Wentz during his weekly K-Fan appearance. Quote, "There was never a point in time where medically we were going against the grain of what was in Carson's best interest and ultimately what Carson wanted to kind of see through." You know, we're not used to this, Jimmy. We are not used to this kind of a hot spotlight on the coaching staff and otherwise. You know, where do we kind of go from here as far as like where do they go next week with this? You know, how do they navigate this really kind of awkward situation that's out there?
Well, there's nothing left to navigate. He's gone for surgery. He's out of here. So Wentz is done. I mean, you don't have to worry about that. What you're going to see is he's also said, I was listening to, and he said that JJ is going to start. Roseburg will be the backup, and they'll go out shopping today for a third-string quarterback. And, you know, that's fine. And I understand Wentz couldn't hurt himself anymore. I'm not going to argue that with those guys. The doctors say, fine, if he wants to do it, do it. But he couldn't win you the game. That's what we're here for. We're here to try and win the game, guys. And he couldn't move. He couldn't throw the ball. There was nothing happening. And he couldn't get out of the way. Yes, the offensive line is hurt. And, you know, maybe Brosper would get crushed too. But you got to try something. That whole second half, you couldn't watch it. You had to watch TV like this to see how bad it was going to be. It was like, you know, people they always slow down when there's a wreck on 494. You look over the other lane to see the pieces of car laying there.
So hard to watch. It really was. Okay, so let's talk about, I mean, clearly, if, you know, KOC has said that JJ will start, but, you know, we'll see what we get there. None of us really still know what we have there. But we gotta kind of talk about Max Brosmer too, because he's a big part of this, given the track record of this season. We have to lean into that a little bit and look at that as fans. I mean, we haven't been privy to as much. We've seen a little glimpse here and there. We saw preseason, really good stuff. What are your thoughts on Brosmer as a solid second here, or potentially somebody who would have to step up if heaven forbid something, you know, happened again to JJ?
I don't know how he gets in a game if you got Wentz laying on the field. You still won't put him in until there's 2 minutes left. It was just crazy. Get him in. I don't know. I mean, they see him, they work with him. We're just on the outside. You and I have the same amount of knowledge as to what he is and what he can bring. Yeah. He seems smart. He seems like he knows what's going on. He did well in the preseason. He was fine in those 2 minutes that he played, right? Threw 3 or 4 passes, you know, did whatever. You know, it wasn't a complete disaster for him. So I don't know. We'll have to see. But I don't know where you go. But he's at least can get out of the way of the rush. Okay. Right? Wentz couldn't move anymore. Yeah. You know, and that's what you were doing. It was just rinse and repeat. Put him out there, get him sacked again. So, Max, I think will be fine. You know, and you know these guys. You know, Carson Wentz is fighting for his job. He needs somebody else to sign him after this season. Yeah. So you look at Anthony Richardson, the quarterback of the Colts, who said that, you know what? I need to take myself out of the game. And where is he now? He's out of the game, basically, and Daniel Jones has taken his job. So you're never going to get a quarterback saying, I need to come out.
I know it. Jimmy, thank you. There's so much more we need to talk about tomorrow, though. KOC Big Day, we'll take that live tomorrow here on All Day, and we'll just kind of watch to see how this plays out. But thanks for popping in. We'll see you in just a little bit. Okay. Have a good one. See you in a bit. All right, Ryan. World Series part 2.
Jimmy's
tonight.
fired up. He's had too many Mountain Dews before 3 o'clock here.
You know what? A lot of fair questions need to be asked, and I think that
he's right,
fine.
Though. I don't disagree with him.
You can't shy away from this stuff, you know. You want to be fair, but you know. All right. So World Series tonight, part 2.
You better believe it. Part 4.
Part 4.
Shohei Ohtani takes the mound for the Dodgers.
All right. Right here on Fox, yeah.
Right here on Fox,
Fantastic.
Yeah. You know, just keep us on.
Just keep it going. Yeah. Keep it going. Maybe Jimmy will come back and get even more spicy. because we
Very
love that.
spicy today. Easy
right.
on the dues, Jimmy.
We're glad that you're with us here today. Ryan, we'll see everybody back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great one.
HumaneSociety.org. That will do it for us on this Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow for the Fox 9 Morning News and back here at 11. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. Enjoy your tacos. Up next, it's Fox 9 All Day, which starts in just a couple seconds. Enjoy.
Welcome to Tuesday. We're glad you're with us. I'm Amy Hockert. We have a lot to try to get through today in the next couple of hours. There is so much happening here, not only locally, but we're watching things nationally. And then, of course, we're watching Hurricane Melissa as well. So to kick things off, though, we're going to be talking about something we're watching in Minneapolis. And this is an authorization to strike. It could happen this week. Educators there, we're going to be talking with them here in a couple of minutes. What would this look like if there was a strike? What exactly does the union want? There are some sticking points there that we'd love to try to drill down on just a little bit more. So again, we'll hear from them in just a couple of minutes. And then a little bit later, a huge boost for the